May 16th, 2002. A day that may seem so insignificant to many, but it was quite the opposite for me and my family. I was born. I was born into an amazing family that I wouldn't trade for the entire world. My mother and father were both in the military at the time, so we couldn't stay in one place. However, wherever we did migrate, it always felt like home to me. Not because it had a brick wall around it, 4 bedrooms, and a backyard for my dog to run around, but because of many reasons other than that. Home to me isn't those things. It isn't a brick building with 4 bedrooms, and it isn't a backyard for my dog to run around in. Home for me is never having something permanent to go into, but always having your heart stay there. I considered it to be where my family was, where my dog was, and where I felt the absolute safest, whether it was in a good place or not. Throughout this speech, I hope to share some insight on my story and what makes me, me. Throughout my life, I have been frequently exposed to change. It's the normal for me. It wasn't atypical, and although people didn't have the same story as I did, I loved mine, and I made sure to share it wherever I went. At a young age, I quickly grasped the significance of it, and it allowed me to experience change, and it shaped me into the person I am today. I feel like going through the struggles I went through and experiencing so much hindrance of change throughout my life, it allowed me to meet new people and be super accepting of people that were going through what I went through. Growing up, I began to realize just how different people's lives were and are. Our childhoods, our experiences, and our definitions of normal. They all vary so considerably, and I feel like no one has the exact same story or life. Whether they have close to story as me, it's always so different. From the outside looking in, most would probably believe I had a normal childhood. However, a very important aspect of my childhood that separated it from many is that I am and was a military brat. Growing up, I moved 3 times in my life. I was born in Okinawa, Japan in 2002, and I moved to Washington State in 2004, right before my little brother was born. Jordan, my younger brother, was born on November 7th, 2004 in Tacoma, Washington. Having that connection with him is super different than any other. Most people are used to their siblings being born in the same place as them, but I'm used to my sibling being born in the United States and me not even knowing what that was at the time. Being a 2-year-old, I really didn't understand the difference in moving, and I thought it was normal and that my parents would just have siblings in every state we visited. When my brother was 4 and when I was 6, we moved to Yorktown, Virginia, which is what I consider my home today. Like I said earlier on in my speech, home to me isn't 4 bedrooms and a backyard for my dog to run around in. Home to me is where my heart is, where my family is, and where my dog is. Although it's all of those things, I now consider my home to be where my best friends are and where the things I love to do are involved. In Yorktown, there's a lot to do. I go on the boat, I go swimming. I go on the Air Force Base to get groceries with my mom, and we travel a lot. After living there for almost 10 years now, or actually 12 years now, sorry. After living there for 12 years, I've considered it to be my home whether I move or not. After going to Yorktown, I realized there's so much to love, so much to see, and so much to do. I never considered going in-state for college, but getting to know my state and seeing what it has to offer, along with the water, the scenery, and where I'm at in college now with the mountains, I realized that change isn't always a bad thing, but sometimes it's an amazing thing. I consider myself to be different than others, not because I went through more or less than anyone else, but because I'm very open to change and I allow that to shape me into the person I am today. Thank you so much for listening.